So then I identified that sleep levels were quite an issue for the client. And I wanted to implement some strategies that they could use to improve this, as this is one of the main reasons why they are experiencing stress and fatigue, and perhaps why they aren't exercising as much. This is quite the root cause for them. So I identified that they only had 6 hours of sleep a night, and this actually can vary. It can be slightly less as well, because some nights they're waking up much earlier, and frequently throughout the night as well, so it's quite an unregular sleep pattern. They have trouble sleeping. They get up at 5 o'clock in the morning for work, which obviously is quite early, so they need to be going to sleep at a good time. They nap for 2 hours in the afternoon when they get home from work, about 6 o'clock in the evening until about 8 o'clock. They go to bed at 11 to 11:30, like I said, sometimes later, and they find it difficult to relax and switch off, as they're still reminiscing from what's happened throughout the day and potentially things that are going to happen throughout the week. So some strategies that I've identified that the client could use is to stop their naps in the afternoon, or reduce them to start off with to an hour and then potentially to half an hour until they don't need to nap anymore, and replace it in active activities like exercising, spending time with family, even talking to family and friends on the phone, or anything that's going to stop them from just sitting and being static in one place, going outside for a walk, doing some meditation, finding a new hobby, anything that will just occupy their mind and keep them stimulated. And they can do that, start by doing that around 3 days a week, and then to increase that to every day, so it's just it becomes a regular part of their routine. Another strategy they can use is aim to go to sleep by 10 p.m. every night. So that's their curfew. So perhaps an hour before, they can start getting all their lunch and that ready for the day tomorrow, and then aim to be in bed about an hour before to get the maximum amount of sleep. And we would be monitoring that for over a month period. So be seeing how many times per week they could actually stick to that 10 p.m. curfew. They could also invest in a form of meditation. There are lots of meditation apps, or even just exercises that you can use. For example, Headspace is a very good app for relaxation. And even reading 2 chapters of a book before bed is really good for just relaxing you, and it's quite calming. So they could do that for around 3 times a week, and then increase this to perhaps 4 or 5. So they're doing it every night, and then we'd also monitor this over a month period and keep them monitoring it for the further time of 6 months and see how they've got on. Also, they can limit their exposure to electronic devices before sleep, so no phones, no TVs or iPads, see if that makes a difference. Leave downstairs an hour before sleep. We'd probably do that over a week period just to see if there's a difference. So we'd do 1 week of them with their tablets and phones before bed, and then do a week without and see how that gets on and if there's any improvement, and then we'd aim to do that over a month period. And also they can have a journal to record the hours of sleep they achieve that night, and then perform a weekly reflection. There are also some types of fitness watches that record your sleep level or your phone. They can have on the other side of the room or keep it downstairs, and they can just record the amount of sleep. I think as well, when you write things down, you can see that you're actually achieving goals, it becomes a lot more motivational for you, and it becomes a lot more of like a real life like stimulation to keep going and keep doing that goal. So, and then performing weekly reflection will just give them a target to aim for next week, or something to be positive, and they can reward themselves for that. So yeah, that's quite good. And the last target I really want them to focus on, probably the most, is their alcohol consumption, because we've identified that they drink 18 units per week, which is 4 units over the recommended amount. And we know that alcohol can have some long-term effects to the body and increase your risks of cardiovascular diseases and other diseases like diabetes. So this is something we really want to sort out, and this as well would help just to maintain blood pressure and even reduce resting heart rate as well, which was something that we identified from the test that was quite a weakness for the client. And that they drink alcohol every night after work, and they use it as a de-stressor. So in terms of strategies in order to combat their alcohol consumption, I've recommended for them to introduce different methods to cope with stress. So I've said you can use meditation apps, like we've mentioned, Headspace, running a bath, and even resulting to hobbies like cooking. He said he really likes cooking, so replacing that instant going to alcohol as a sort of de-stressor, go to cooking or spending time with family in order to like de-stress and calm down. Instead of turning to alcohol, journaling the cause of stress will help to pinpoint the triggers. So just by noting down what you've been stressed at, or something stressing you in the moment or at the end of the day, just knowing what that is, and if it's a repeated pattern, you may be able to pinpoint the causes right. So for example, when I do this at work and something doesn't go right, or I keep making the same mistakes, this is what's causing the stress. So then we can try and combat that and try and fix the main point that's causing this stress. I've also said in the week, start off by decreasing the alcohol consumption from every night to 3 days and eventually just a weekend. So they're on average drinking about 2.5 pints per night. So maybe if we do 1 pint for 3 days in the week, and we can see that will be quite a drastic decrease also as well. And then potentially just limiting it to weekends, say Friday, Saturday, Sunday, having, 2 glasses of wine or 2 pints. That would equivalent to around 6 to 8 units of drink per week. So that's really dramatically increased it. But we want to do that over a longer period of time, because just by trying to do that in such a small time scale of a week, it's unlikely that the participant would sustain that. So by doing it weekly and just seeing how they're getting on, and if they're reducing it by small amounts per week, so then over about 6-month period we can see that they've decreased that. That's the main goal. Try different drinks, like alcohol free. There's lots of alcohol free options, alcohol free beer and wine that you can have, which would still give you the sensation that you're having like a drink and you're relaxing, but in fact it's not actually alcohol. But just even different drinks like water, flavoured waters are a lot more of a healthier alternative. And when you come home from work, and in the next month, the client, we are hoping, will decrease their weekly units from 18 to 14 per week. And if they could do less than that, that is great. But for the month, we're just going to take it slow and make sure that it's suiting the participant to their individuality. And yeah, just decreasing the alcohol will aid their heart rate and blood pressure in the long run. So we're trying to make these targets smart and specific. So we're targeting that it's to do with their alcohol consumption. We're measuring over a month period for the initial first observations, and then we're going to do over a 6-month period, and we're going to see the differences then. And then, well, I expect that when we do the heart rate and blood pressure tests again, that we will see a lower result, because due to the exercising, an increase in physical activity levels, the decrease in stress levels and decrease of alcohol consumption will ultimately have a long-term effect. And I think it will just make the participant feel a lot more motivated and stress-free. So this is the main goal that we want for the client. And that is client 1.